Welcome to a monkey-rific new episode of the Demonic Compendium, the show where I discuss the mythology, design, and game history of your favorite Megami Tensei demons. It's everyone's favorite time of the year, Monkey May, a tradition I've never celebrated before and probably never will again. So quit monkeying around because today we're talking about Ongkhot. Ongkhot, or as he was called in the earlier titles, simply Ongkhot, is a warrior monkey primarily associated with Thailand. The figure originated in the Hindu epic, the Ramayana, where he was known as Ongkhot, but when Thailand adapted this tale to the Southeast Asian country in the form of the Ramakien, certain details were changed, backgrounds were expanded upon, and many characters got renamed. Like many mythological figures, Ongkhot's story begins with his birth. His mother, Nongmonto, cheated on Totsakan, the central antagonist of the Ramakien, with the Vanara king, Pali. To protect the baby, Ongkhot was transferred as a fetus into a goat and was eventually born as a sign of divine destiny. He's also Hanuman's cousin, I'm just throwing that out there now. Ongkhot eventually joined the Divine Army and became a noteworthy general. His primary abilities included strength, speed, and the ability to alter his size, growing or shrinking as necessary. Rama trusted Ongkhot to try and deliver a message to Totsakan to bring peace and end the war. At first, they refused to let Ongkhot in, so he grew to an enormous size and kicked down the gate with his left foot. When meeting with the enormous Totsakan, Ongkhot used his ability to lengthen his tail into a massive coil and sat upon it, allowing him to literally look down on the Demon King. And when it came time to escape, Ongkhot's incredible speed and agility allowed him to dodge the magical arrows from far more powerful warriors. One of Ongkhot's most legendary feats was his defeat of the demon Paklan. Ongkhot defeated the giant not through combat, but compassion. Instead of striking the demon lord, Ongkhot gently rubbed his back, breaking a curse on the demon that bound him to be a lake guardian and freeing him, allowing him to return to the heavens. Ongkhot is very rarely depicted in direct combat, instead relying on his latent abilities, speed, wisdom, bravery, and kindness to do what's necessary in the epic war. Ongkhot's compendium entry in Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne HD Remaster refers to him as a monkey god in Hindu mythology. He is the general of Hanuman's army. In the Ramakien, Thailand's national epic, it is written that he fought with a giant and freed it from its curse. Hey, if you like what I'm doing here, please consider commenting, subscribing, maybe even checking out the Patreon. It honestly all helps a lot. Thanks so much, moving on. Design-wise, Ongkhot's appearance seems relatively straightforward, but it fits nicely into the character. It's worth mentioning that Ongkhot is typically described as being emerald green and not the bright pink that he is in Megaten. He's green in the Ramakien and generally is in Kon theater, the specific type of Thai dance and performance where Ongkhot is often a central figure. So him being green would have been more accurate, but if nothing else, I like that his clothing greatly features the color alongside a nice gold, and it still creates a good and iconic look for the figure. As for the monkey himself, Kaneko seems to have based the design with white fur and pink skin off of macaques. Specifically, he seems closest to the rhesus macaque, or the crab-eating / long-tailed macaque, the latter of which is native to Southeast Asia. Despite having his own unique artwork, many of his sprites and such are just variations of other figures, most notably Hanuman. Like, his sprite in Last Bible 3 just straight up has him looking like Hanuman. He doesn't even maintain his iconic pink skin in that game. Even Kaneko's comments on all the Nocturne demons basically just had him saying Ongkhot isn't a major figure, and he was mostly included because they already had Hanuman. So on top of the two once sharing 2D sprites, they now also share a 3D model, with Ongkhot just being an altered version of Hanuman. However, Ongkhot did have a different design in the Devil Children series. He looks like a pretty standard cartoon monkey here with a sword and a helmet and weirdly human feet on full display. I don't really have a lot to say about this one, though I will say it does seem a little bit closer to the more accurate green description from the Thai epic. As far as game history goes, Ongkhot is not a demon with a lot going on. In fact, arguably the most interesting thing about him is the name change. In Japan, the figure was simply written as Ongkhot, so for quite a while the demon was just localized as Ongkhot in many of its earlier appearances. It wasn't until Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne HD Remaster that the figure was properly called Ongkhot. In all versions of Nocturne, Ongkhot is one of the demons that was given the ability to evolve, with him eventually turning into Hanuman, who himself later becomes Chitan Dashong or Wukong. In Digital Devil Saga 1, the Embryon encounters two members of the Solids when they revisit the Maribel base that talk about needing to stall them. This leads to a mini-boss battle where the crew needs to fight 2 Ongkhot, then a wave of 3 Ongkhot, then a wave of 4 Ongkhot. These Ongkhot actually can use the group combo skill Debilitate to lower your party's stats, but as you can see, I never let that happen in this footage. And, look, I know this always feels like a cop-out thing to mention in these videos, like I'm just padding the runtime, but wow, I really thought Ongkhot was in more games when I started working on this video. I could have sworn he was at least in, D2 or Shin Megami Tensei Vengeance or something, but no. Ongkhot really is a figure that hasn't had much presence since the PS2 era, and even then he was absent from stuff like Raito or Persona, which is why his only recent appearance has been Nocturne HD. It would be really cool to see him make a comeback in the franchise, especially since I feel like Megaten is severely lacking in Southeast Asian figures, and more Thai representation would be welcome. But for now, there's really not much else to say except... And there you have it, Ongkhot, the miniature, mischievous, masterfully moving magenta militant macaque. Did I leave out something you thought was important? Was I just plain wrong about something? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to let me know who you'd like to see me talk about in future episodes. That's going to do it for this episode of the Demonic Compendium, and I will see you next time. But be careful while you rest that a demon doesn't take over your body.